Amazing.
Yeah, it sure was. It is really one of the nicest times of year.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's hot today.
Yeah, it's a little hot out there for okay. I think we're good here, Corey. It's on my different location on my main Facebook. So if you want to check, but I see us live here.
Yeah, I see it as live.
Okay, okay, good. I'll move it over to um, the normal location. So very good, folks. Well, my name is David Kirsten, and we're excited to bring you Quantum Leap today with David and Cory. And we have a special guest. We're actually, for those who may have joined earlier, we're going to do the 10:30 segment a bit later on this afternoon, or around 2 or so. So just a heads up on that. We're going to talk about solopreneur. And but we have an exciting surprise guest, I say, because we didn't announce her before now. Heather um, Heather R. I'm going to have you pronounce your last name.
oh, Heather Rippere.
Heather Rippere. Okay. Um, and but first, I wanted to introduce my co-host Cory. Not Cory, if you don't mind, just introducing yourself. I feel a little rusty since this is our first episode back after our long summer break, which was nice, of course.
Yes, I am Cory Knott, and I am co-owner of Take Wing Coaching and a strategic advisor and coach for business partnerships. So I work with two or more people who are trying to work together as business owners and helping them on the dynamics of their relationship.
Okay, great. And folks, if you are new to the show, it's called Quantum Leap because we talk about generating a quantum leap in your business. We really share that through individual stories. I know I'm actually not a big believer in kind of recreational space travel. I feel like we have a lot of other problems in the world. I remember talking to a colleague way back who said, "Well, why do you want to go to space?" And I'm like, it's really a metaphor for, making a jump in your career. And I'm not against, space exploration, but I think it can be a little bit of a waste of gas. With that, I'm going to introduce our guest, Heather, and we're going to have a great conversation on one of our favorite topics, coaching and leadership, transformational leadership. Heather is the author From Imposter to Influencer, where she blends her own transformational journey that unfolded while working in corporate America with powerful stories of her clients, unlocking authenticity, resilience, and meaningful impact as a certified neurolinguist NLP coach um, through the Intentional Coaching Federation, ICF for short, and a certified somatic coach, which also integrates the science-based inside-out theory. Heather offers a uniquely powerful potentials, a strategic, integrative approach to transformational growth that is sustainable. And I don't really see how folks are effective without some of those great tools that you bring to the table. And that's why we really wanted to have you on as a unique person out there in the leadership space. But I want to first turn it over to you, Heather, to just introduce yourself and fill in, tell us a little bit about your story and things I may have left out on your bio there.
Well, yeah, thank you. First of all, thanks for inviting me. So appreciate that. Happy to be here.
Yeah, no
Thanks for the
problem.
intro.
Consider
Yeah.
this the first of a series of discussions. So.
So a little bit about myself. Okay, so first let's start out. So like it said in my bio, I am a leadership coach specializing in transformation, really helping emerging leaders overcome imposter syndrome without burning out. So that's it in a nutshell. And how I got there is I basically followed the structure, the regimen, go when you get out of high school, go to college, go to corporate, get the corporate job, make the money, do the retirement plan, uh, do the houses. I did all that. And I came from a home of four children. I'm the youngest of four, and it was very religious as well. So I followed the structure. And then I got sick because I was doing the hustle, hustle, perform, perform. And that's where my book starts. My book starts when I got sick and when I got fired. So the book is about my journey. I actually uploaded my journals because I wanted to write a book, and I uploaded my journals, and that's what came out of the journals was that me writing about what I was going through and the fear I was going through. And so I realized when I started coaching others, they were going through the same thing as well. So a lot of times when we're thrown into corporate, we're not really prepared on really deciding what it is we want to do. In my situation, I wasn't really encouraged to find my passion, just get the job, right? And just follow the structure, thinking that was the right structure. Although I was having a missing piece. And the missing piece was I was doing high performance, but I wasn't doing high care. So that's what was missing. That's what I found out after the whole topple down of almost 28 years in corporate. And so, yeah, it was definitely a life lesson.
Yeah, no, that's a very timely story and your journey, and I think a lot of folks, especially these days, can relate to that. With the such a focus on results, but if that's not aligned with your purpose, and there's very few companies that I think provide for a lot of that kind of growth, and I think there are a bit. Um, but it's so we'll take a little bit closer look at your book in a bit, but I did want to just kind of jump to what services you offer, like what package or what problem are you looking to solve for folks, and how do you do that?
Yeah, great question. So before I do that, because your screen kind of glitched, so we didn't hear what you said, but I
So
caught
it
a
wasn't just me.
I caught a little glimpse of it. I want to just point out that you can get results and still be authentic.
Mhm.
Authenticity is misunderstood and mislabeled. And so I think majority of people when they hear it, they think, oh, I have to, I can't really drive what I need to drive, or I can't really do this, but you can. And so that's where imposter syndrome comes because you're actually being somebody you're not. So authenticity actually becomes a power play for you to bring in to drive the results without burning out. So I just wanted to point that out that that is a very important key, that's authenticity is actually a strength and a power move. And so the programs I provide is I have right now I have group coaching and individual coaching. So I have different tiers for each. And if we start with individual, I start with a very fast pace, rapid change. You can change one place that you're stuck within 2 weeks. And then I have everything going up to 3 months and a year. And then I have group coaching where if you want to get the whole group together or the team together and you all want to be on the same page and create that what word are they using now? Just create that flow within the team and create better communication. I have that as well. So that's what I have available. And I do workshops for those who really don't know what they want to be coached on. Maybe they just need the basics. They need to understand what is authenticity, what is navigating difficult conversations, what does it mean when I need to make a decision and uncertainty, and how do I do that? So workshops can be just very information loaded, not based on science, but also based on live experience. So this is not just all I read a science book. I lived and breathed all of this, and my clients as well.
Great, and I appreciate that clarification too. And I'm going to turn it over to Cory. We're going to come back to the a little bit more in depth on the book, but I think his discussion will set up the book nicely. So, Cory, if
All
you have
right.
any wild card question or you want to interject, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right. Yeah, I think you kind of answered the questions as to the why and ideal client. But so, what are your existing projects? What are you working on? What's coming up for Heather?
Great question. So I'm working on a self-study online
Hmm.
course. And so there's definitely chapters in the book I can put into mini courses. I think when I'm really focusing on setting boundaries, that was one of the things is that as I was writing this book, yes, I've been through a lot of the parts of the book, but I added more to boundaries because I was learning and transforming myself from the book. And so boundaries can also be very, very powerful. And boundaries is actually the framework for being authentic.
Right.
So yeah, so that's an idea of doing a mini course and then doing a course of just a foundational course as well. So I'm working on self-study.
Okay. Nice. Um, yeah, I don't really have any other questions to be
Yeah, I
honest.
was thinking we just dive in terms of just some of the maybe the frameworks that you teach in the book, or some of your different offerings of what you go.
You're really breaking up there. Is that
Well,
me or I,
I hear the breakup.
okay? I know there's some stuff downloading in upstairs.
yeah, let me check my volume here. Um, yeah, well, tell us a little bit more about the book and some of your frameworks for how you help your clients
Okay,
accomplish
perfect.
these goals.
Perfect. Good question. So let's start with a story of Ella. So Ella is this power director, and she came to me for coaching, and she was struggling with burnout. She was exhausted. And the reason why that we uncovered and noticed in our coaching sessions is that what was really bothering her is every time she was in a meeting with her peers, other managers, Noah was stepping in to do the action items at the end, and she was always stepping in to do the action items. So she was taking on everybody's work. And so what was uncovered in our coaching was she had to learn the art of pause, how to pause. And that was really difficult for her because she was always the one who was always taking on this project and that project. She built a really great team that was running on its own, producing results, but she didn't know how not to jump in. So learning that power of pausing, she tried it in one of her meetings throughout our coaching session, and she realized it was very difficult to do because it's something she had never done, but she was more aware of it. And then the silence, actually, she held it, even if it was uncomfortable for her, and her peers started jumping in and taking on the other tasks. And so it also trickled into her personal life where she was able to also pause with her husband and not jump in and do everything. So it was transforming not only at work, but in her personal life. It brought her more at ease and less exhaustion, so she wasn't burning out. And then, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Okay.
I
And then
fixed my
another,
audio issue too. I think temporarily at least.
and then another story of Oscar. Oscar was a manager, a new manager, and he had a team that kept asking him questions and he had no time for his own work. So he was constantly putting out fires. And he wasn't sure how to navigate that because he knew everything. He had been promoted from an individual contributor to a manager. And so, of course, they were coming to him because he knew how to do everything. And so, what we learned in coaching was for him to be the coach for his own team. And so the next week, he actually implemented what had come up and he started asking his team questions. And he came back the next session. He was like, this is amazing. If this is all I get out of coaching, you have transformed my life because he started asking more questions of his team and they started taking on more ownership and more responsibility. So he was able to run the stats, run the analytics, do the management roles, and he wanted to actually he was actually volunteering for board of directors at one of the nonprofits. So just learning how to shift out of doing the detail and shift into how to perform as a manager to see the big picture and empower your team to as well take on other projects. That was really transforming for him. Yeah.
Oh, great. And what are some of the key challenges in corporate America in terms of some of the things that they don't maybe do the best given because of the system that they could incorporate and actually use these same techniques to improve, the corporate environment?
That's such a great question. I'm reading articles all the time. Right now, what's happening in corporate, people are burning out. Millennials are burning out, Gen X are burning out because no one's really teach them how to create those boundaries or
Hmm.
those standards. And so they're doing the burnout. And so I think that's what's top right now in corporate is when you get into the hustle culture, you're just going, going, going. Even when you get home and you're relaxing, your brain is still going. So you don't really know how to actually decompress and relax. And the whole point of going from imposter influencer is to learn how to calm the mind so you can actually influence those around you versus doing all the busy work or doing all the tasks. You're actually, when your mind is clear and your mind is calm, you actually are more creative. And then you produce higher results with less effort. So that's the whole point of the book is to actually, how do you calm that chattery mind and how do you realize you're in the hustle culture and there's another way to do it. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. There is another way to not be so exhausted and burned out.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. That somatic work is very good for that.
Yeah, and
And
they didn't teach me that in corporate. I had to learn trial and error, which I think a lot of people are doing, of how to create those boundaries. And boundaries don't necessarily have to be something that you tell people. It's those inner boundaries, those unspoken boundaries that no one really teaches you, especially when you're thrown into culture and you're coming from a background where performance is all it is. You have to drive results. You don't really know how to actually go within because everything you did, the way you were raised, the way society raised you, your religion was all about what I could do for everyone else. So
yeah.
it is another side that no one really teaches us. So the book does talk about how I search for those tools because I realized this is not something that was actually handed to you. It's something you have to go find because the world and large institutions don't teach you any of this.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I don't have any corporate background. So it's like I worked small business and I worked in corporate engineering once for Nextel before it became a corporation, a big corporation. We were trying to figure out how to make it into something, how to implement some of that culture, I guess. And but I didn't stick around for the, the actual implementation of it. And but it interests me is like, so that's not changing, right? Is what you're saying, is it really hasn't changed in that environment. Yeah,
And the
interesting.
traditional way of leadership is still there, the command and control, and
Right,
less of the influence and inspire. There
right,
are bits of it, but it's still being run in, for whoever's at the top is trickling down into the culture. And so you make a really good point. You were there in Intel to help them grow, but it's really the person, the individual's responsibility to create that structure around them instead of being led by what someone tells you to do. You have to actually really decide when you're in corporate, it is going to be fast paced. And how can you set yourself up for success? Because if you don't do it, you will be run to the ground.
right, right,
Because no one's going to teach you that. They love people. I mean, you can still create high-end creative outputs and not have to work 70 hours a week.
right.
You know,
Yeah.
I have another story of a client that was working 60 hours, cyber expert, and he was doing emerging leader. He was in his leadership role and in his current role. And the reason why he didn't want to leave because he felt like he wasn't going to bring value to the new role. But he was working 60 hours. He was driven to change it. And within 5 weeks, we brought him down to 40 hours a week because not only did he bring in his own awareness of why he didn't want to let go of the work, which was he didn't think he brought value, but he didn't know how to do it. So I also brought change management as well. I'm also a change management practitioner. And so we're able to get everyone around him, his manager and the other departments to help work to take that workload off him. And he also so the end point was he got a promotion to go to another country to lead because his manager's like, oh my God, I'm so impressed how you did all this. And he got his time back, so he's able to spend time with his wife. And so those are just examples of he wasn't aware that he could do that because he came in saying, oh, this is how I work, this is how I work. I go, are you interested in another way? And so
Right,
it's just learning those tools that are not handed to us that are in the book. So it's basically a coach in a book.
right. Okay.
Yeah, nice. I'm gonna put up this QR code for the free gift that you are offering our listeners, and if you don't mind just telling us about this, just setting this up.
Yeah, this is a really quick uh, gift for emerging leaders and anybody who's struggling with having to delegate. So there's some real key points that are from lived experiences of how to properly delegate and not feel guilty about it. A lot of times when you're a high performer, you feel guilty, especially when you're a new leader, you don't really know how to let go of stuff. You think you got to hold on to everything. So it's a quick cheat sheet for that that they don't teach you in corporate.
Okay, great. Folks, if you're new to this type of system, just pick up your phone and open your camera, and then that link should pop up for you, and just click on it. I will put the link in the comments to this video too, so you can catch it there. And um, I wanted to end just within a minute or two, but if you don't mind just summing up who you're looking to connect with out there, and um, if somebody's listening, who might be a good person to connect with you.
Yeah, great question. So definitely emerging leaders, entrepreneurs that are struggling moving from solopreneur to entrepreneur, maybe they're building a team. It could also be a professional that's taken on more of a senior role, or maybe it's an organization that wants to get their whole team or group on the same page or a department on the same page. Contact me as well. Those would be great people to work with.
Great, and do keep us posted on if your upcoming courses or events. I'd love to learn more about your coaching style. Your book is on my buy list, but I haven't got it yet. So I'd love to
Yep.
dive in deeper to some of your systems, and we'll look at having you on again maybe later this year. So this is our first episode back, and we were really looking forward to having you back on our first episode. So yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. This was
Yeah,
Yes.
my
great.
pleasure. Yeah, come back and visit us at BNI too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, folks, we're gonna end it there. This is David and Cory and Heather signing off for Quantum Leap, and we'll see you a bit later this afternoon with that other segment. Thanks, folks. See you next week. Bye.